Hello MYP1, hope you have enjoyed your lovely test and that you've done well and you felt like you've done the best of your ability. So, going through the mark scheme. Question 1, what we were looking for was eyepiece lens, and a little suggestion: when you go through in a test, when you've written a set of words down, cross the words off so that you know that you've used them. Objective lens is this part, that's the part of the lens which essentially magnifies, and then the stage, that's where you're going to put your slide. Question 2, complete the following. All living things are made up of cells. Label the organs of the human body. At the top we've obviously got the brain, the stomach, the kidney, which is pointing to these. I'll highlight them in blue. This here and this here, there's two of them, okay. And then the large intestine. So the large intestine is, let's use a different color, this part, okay. Moving on, question 4. Which organ system are the lungs part of? They are the respiratory system. Question 5. Give the names of 2 organs that are part of the digestive system. We're looking for the stomach or the small intestines, and you could have had the tongue or the esophagus. Not the mouth. I saw there was a piece of work I think my class did where it spoke about the mouth being an organ, but it isn't. A tongue would be the organ though. Hopefully there are possibly a few more which you can check. Question 6. What does the heart do? It pumps blood around the body. Pumps blood around the body. All that lovely oxygenated blood to try to get it to parts of the body which need oxygen, and it then removes waste products like urea and CO2. Part 2, which organ system is the heart in? It's the circulatory system, so that pumping system. It circulates products that are required for your cells to work and gets rid of all those the excess waste that the cells no longer need. Part 7, question 7, label the parts of this slide being made. So at the bottom, this bit here is obviously the sample, or you could have had onion cell possibly, or onion skin. The slide is the main part, cover slip, and then a mounting needle. Now you guys didn't actually use a mounting needle, so if you put tweezers, that's what my class used, that would be okay, or any other legitimate suggestion. But mounting needle is actually what this diagram represents. Question 8. Label the parts of this cell. So we're looking for the cytoplasm. That's this one going here to the main constituent of the cell. The nucleus, that's this dark black area, that's where the DNA is contained. The chloroplast, these make food for a plant cell, so they turn sunlight into sugar. The cell membrane, so that's the inner one. Now, this is obviously found in a plant and animal cell. It's important to note this is a plant cell. You should be able to figure that out quickly based on the cell wall. So if you can see 2 layers, you know, okay, I've got a cell membrane and a cell wall. If I've got a cell wall, it must be potentially a plant cell. Or it's certainly not an animal cell. Choose one of the parts you have labeled and explain what it does. So here's a quick little table. If you chose the nucleus, it contains the genetic material or controls the activities of the cell. If you chose the cytoplasm, this is where most chemical processes take place. It's controlled by enzymes. This is the majority of the cell. The cell membrane controls what goes in and out of the cell. the cell wall, this is the strength of the cell. So plants don't have skeletons containing bones like humans do. So their strength comes from this extra wall that they have, as highlighted in yellow, that provides the strength. You could have also had the chloroplasts. These contain chlorophyll. You didn't need to write that, but you could have said that you should have said that they absorb light energy for photosynthesis or use light energy to make food. And a permanent vacuole, this is filled with cell sap to help keep the cell turgid. I doubt many of you went for that last one, but turgid, by the way, means essentially kind of rigid, combined with completely full of water. So if you imagine a water balloon, it's got a good sense of strength when you fill it with water. If you empty all that water out, then the balloon just goes floppy. Okay, so turgid is when it is filled with that water and provides a good structure. Moving on. In what way are the dog and the rabbit similar? So you may use the words more than once. That's a crucial thing. But you've got to use these sentences below. Make sure you do read questions, and I would underline that statement here, that I've used the words more than once, or you may use the words more than once. You don't have to, but you could. So both the toy dog and the rabbit can move from place to place. So the toy dog has this little windy up thing here, so it allows it to move, and the rabbit can move. Obviously the plant or the rose bush can't move from place to place. Give 2 ways in which the toy dog is different from the rabbit. Well, the toy dog cannot eat or grow, and it can't reproduce. So any 2 of those 3. Give 2 ways in which the rabbit is different from the rose bush. Well, the rabbit can move from place to place, and the rabbit can eat. So both the rabbit and the plant can grow, and they can both reproduce. But the plant doesn't eat because it uses photosynthesis to make its own food, and it doesn't move from place to place. Okay, I'll say that again. The rabbit can grow and the rabbit can reproduce, and so can the plant, but only the rabbit can eat and move from place to place. The plant makes its own food, so it doesn't eat, and the plant can't move from place to place. Next up, label the organs X, Y, and Z. X is the lung. Y is the heart. And Z is the kidney. And I don't know, make up some noise that a kidney makes. So, question 11. Name the 5 organ systems given in the table. Circulatory system, so you got to look it up here. Circulatory system, we're looking for veins in the heart, so that is obviously C. The digestive system is D. We've got the esophagus to the stomach, we've got the liver, the large intestines and the small intestines. The reproductive system, so this is showing a female, we've got the ovaries and the uterus. The respiratory system would be A, so this is with the lungs. And the skeleton, this is the bones. So this would be E. Okay, so just to repeat, C, D, B, A, and E. Which one of these organ systems is completely different in a man and a woman? I'm sure you should all get this right. It is the reproductive system. So the answer would be, if you wrote B, we'll allow it as well. The diagram below shows that the diagrams below show an animal and a plant cell, and you've got to label 2 things which are similar. So the cytoplasm, this is what makes up most of the cell, is the kind of slightly gelatinous, gloopy stuff. So jelly-like structure. And the cell membrane, which is obviously this inner layer on the plant cell. You'll notice this outer layer being the cell wall. Okay. Give the names of two parts which are present in plant cells but not in animal cells. So we're looking for the cell wall and chloroplasts. There are potential other ones, but those are the most likely, I think, which you would have put. Okay, draw straight lines to match up. So the white blood cell, this traps microorganisms and therefore prevents disease. So the white blood cells come along, engulf around foreign organisms which are going to harm you, and then they start digesting them. Nom, 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 nom. The leaf cell, this absorbs light, and it does this for photosynthesis, which is the process of plants making their own food. Without this, obviously all life on Earth won't work, because they're bottom of the food chain, so animals eat the plants. Since we can't make our own food from sunlight. Cells in the intestines, these go, oh, this is already done for you, produce enzymes to digest food. The red blood cells, they trap oxygen in order for respiration to happen. Oh, what's going on? Hello. So red blood cells transport oxygen for respiration. Respiration being that process of you gaining oxygen so that you can essentially use sugar to give your cells energy. Okay, next question. Structures A and B are both found in animal cells and bacteria. Use the keywords to name structures A and B. So A is the cytoplasm, B is the cell wall. You'll notice something here, that the bacteria also has a cell wall, and its genetic material is not held in a nucleus. So this yellow is the cell wall again. Both cells contain genetic material. Name the structure in the animal cell that contains genetic material. That is the nucleus. In a bacteria, it doesn't have a nucleus. The genetic material is just free within the cytoplasm. Okay, moving on to the big question, to plan an investigation. So let's highlight some key words. So sycamore seeds, they fall from the tree to germinate. And the sycamore seeds has two main parts, the seed itself and the wing. And it's asked you to plan an investigation to find out what affects the length of time that a model sycamore seeds to fall to the ground. You can make the model out of card like the one in the diagram, and you could alter the weight by adding paper clips. So it's already given you a helpful addition. Okay, so one possible suggestion is you might keep adding paper clips. Now I went for a different alternative, just to give you another idea. But the important thing is it's worth 10 marks here. You needed to make a prediction, clear instructions about what to do with the diagram, including how to test your tests will be fair. So to summarize, and I've got quite a lot of text here. So the first thing you want is a sentence. What are you going to investigate? So I am going to investigate how the size of the wing affects the fall time. So I'm going to change the wing, or the wing size, rather than the amount of paper clips and how heavy it is. I predict a bigger wing has a longer fall time. So my independent variable, that's what IV stands for. I'll say that again. The independent variable is the size of the wing. My dependent variable is the time it takes to fall. Okay, the time it takes to fall. And so this is going to be measured in seconds, and this is going to be measured in centimeters squared. What I need to control to keep the same, I'm going to drop them all from the same height. I'm going to say that that's 2 meters. And the weight of the model is also going to be the same, which I'll work out. Let's say, just for simplicity's sake, it's going to weigh 2 grams. Actually, no, that's a bit too light. Let's say it's going to weigh 5 grams. No, 2 grams. Back to 2 grams. And I will repeat my experiment 3 times. So just by saying that there, I've already identified how it's going to be fair. And then I've drawn a table. So my wing size, 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 6 centimeters, that should be squared because it's an area and not a length. So wing size. And then trial, 1, 2, and 3. So these are my repeats. And this should actually be time to full, and these are going to be measured in seconds, and these are the repeats, 1, 2, and 3, and then my average also measured in seconds. So that's what my table would look like. Then so I've managed to do that. When you're making the table, there's going to be one mark for having the independent variable. So for me, this is the one that you change. This is the one that you change. And you want this in the first column. Okay. You would then want your dependent variable in the other column. Oops. You then want your dependent variable in the other column with heading. So I've said this is the time to fall. And the second mark is you're going to want units. So seconds and centimeters squared in this case. Okay. And so that would get you the marks for your include how to record your results and show any patterns in them. Finally, providing clear instructions about what to do with the diagram. So this is essentially your method, and I would cut out model as shown in diagram, and I'm going to use the diagram that they suggested. So I'm going to have a lovely wing. Okay. And and another lovely wing. And that's just folded down there. And I'm going to make sure that it has the same weight, and we'll still put one paper clip on. So this is a paper clip wing. And then I would change the size of the wing each time. I would change the size of the wing each time. So here would be another one where that's got to measure 2 centimeters by 1 centimeter, and that has to be 2 centimeters by 1 centimeter. Then my next one, I think I said 2, 4, 6. So my next one is going to be 2 centimeters, and it's going to be by 3 centimeters. the same for the other part of the wing. So this is 2 centimeters by 3 centimeters, and then the paper clip goes there. And in order to try to keep the weight the same, my plan was to keep this, change the size of this part, change this size to keep mass the same. But that's not hugely important. So anyway, you cut out the model as shown. 2. Change the wing size as shown. 3. Attach paper clip. 4. Measure 2 meters above the floor. The floor, that's not fall, with a tape measure. Really important you say what with actually. And then 5, make table. 6, drop model and start timer. 7, when model hits floor, stop timer and record result. And then 8, do repeats. Okay, and that's it. I know, loads it seems, but you don't have to. I've gone into quite a great bit of detail to give you a perfect model answer. There are alternatives that you could have done, like you could have changed the weight of the sycamore seed, and that's so by adding different paper clips, and that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to show you a different potential one in case some of you choose this answer. Okay, so check back through your work, go back through the video to the points which you didn't understand. Feel free to ask myself, Mr. K, or Miss Greenland any potential questions, and we'll be happy to go through them. Thank you very much and enjoy your weekend.